in added time from a 16-year-old.
Yeah, obviously we all know it's a difficult place to come. We all know that there was a lot of oil on the fire, I would say, this week in order to get especially Newcastle fired up. And what happened tonight, obviously, it was expected. I think for us, the disappointed part is that we conceded 2 of set pieces, and that shouldn't happen. But overall, great 3 points, move on, and focus on the next one.
How much credit do you give Newcastle, because they looked as if they had 11 players on the pitch towards the end?
Yeah, you know, obviously free kicks, corner kicks, obviously then the pressure gets on, and they have the quality. I think if you look at all the traditional top 6 here last year, I think there's only a couple that actually managed to beat them. So it's always a difficult place to come. And it was today the same. You know, I think I enjoy this type of atmosphere as well, so I was really looking forward to it. But I think we could have made it a little bit easier if you don't concede those set pieces, and then you give them the boost and the feeling and the drive that with the fans behind them, of course. And but we managed to get the 3 points and we move on.
You say you enjoy these kind of evenings, these nights at St James's Park, but you yourself, you were involved in that sending off on the receiving end of that foul. What did Anthony Gordon say to you as he was trying to talk to you on the pitch?
Well, I said to him, if there's no sending off, then I don't understand football. So I think it was already strange that the manager has to go to the monitor, in my opinion. But listen, unfortunately, these things happen in football. If you meant it or not, it happened. We move on. That's it.
A word on Rio. I know we spoke about him briefly at the start of this interview, but to finish it off, it was the coolest of finishes, and at such a young age as well, just coming on, Premier League debut, boom.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a dream debut for him. I think that whole attack was quite good. Harvey, I think, started it, or right-hand side, and obviously I think Freddy did the dummy. So it was a perfect attack. We stayed calm towards the end as well, try and find the right solution in order to score a goal, and we did it. So I'm very, very pleased for Rio. I've mentioned it before to him already. It's all a start now. He has to keep working hard and stay humble, but definitely have to enjoy this, because these nights you can't take for granted, of course, if you're in his position. And I'm sure with the players that we have, he will be back in training and having a hard session tomorrow again, and then we carry on.
Gets on the ground, yeah. But what a moment. Over to Michael Owen, because he has the best insight of this from anyone off the bench. I mean, as I said, unfortunately, yours wasn't the winner, but you can know what it means to come through, get your opportunity, and come off and score like this. But he's been on the pitch less than 5 minutes.
And absolutely. I mean, it was a wonderful finish. He's obviously got a lot of talent. Maka sees him a lot, or has seen him a lot at the academy. He's a very direct player, got great feet. You know, he is exciting. Possibly, a lot of people thought he was too young, maybe. Would he have had his chance if happenings hadn't occurred over the summer? Liverpool losing 3 attacking players. But these things, you know, are meant to be in many ways, and he was meant to be there today in that position with that incredible finish. I mean, the confidence of him to do that. The best thing about that finish was there was really no options. The ball coming from that side on your right foot, it is a hard right foot, side foot finish into the far corner. There are no real options. Yes, you can pull it into the near post, but that really is the obvious option. So he didn't have anything on his mind other than, right, this is the finish, this is what I'm going to do.
And the one thing you would say, Mo, he has scored a couple of goals in pre-season, which may or may not have helped.
Massively helped.
But the fact that he's played at Anfield...
But that situation's different.
That is a different situation. And Liverpool saved their best bit of football, their best move to the 100th minute. I mean, talk about getting out of jail, talk about getting out of trouble and rewriting a new game. You know, if they would have finished 2-2, you would have thought, you know, how on earth have Liverpool got away with a draw? And then they go and get 3 points out of it. No wonder Virgil kept on saying, we move on, because the more you focus on it, the more errors, the more questions you've got. And it was an incredibly strange performance, but magnificent result. Very strange. I felt sorry for Newcastle. I really did. Everything went against Newcastle tonight, and then they concede in injury time like that.
And we feel sorry for Mo as sort of year by year his records tumble. I mean, in fairness, you've held this one for a long time, but you have been knocked off your perch as Liverpool's youngest ever Premier League goal scorer. Maka almost made that graphic, by the way. 19 you were with research when you scored for the first time.
Okay, well, why didn't you put it on there?
They could have elongated it.
Yeah.
Well, it's Sean, the producer, who does this, not me.
Is that Sean? Was he a Newcastle fan? No, he's not a Newcastle. Hubbs is a Newcastle fan. But he's
as your
busy
friend, I
crying,
was
think,
mentioning that you scored at 19. But yeah, he's beaten some names.
And the good thing is, listen, players can be decent and showing a bit of form and showing some talent, and maybe at the end of the season there's nothing on it and they come on and they score the 5th goal in a 5. That was the real deal today. He'll always look back on that and think the feeling of scoring the winning goal, it wasn't just his first goal ever. It was so important. I know we're early on in the season. You don't want to be losing ground. You don't want to be losing ground. Liverpool have got Arsenal next. All of a sudden, if they get beat there and they're 5 points behind, that's a lot of catching up. I know it's a long season. You don't want to be doing that. That is such an important goal for Liverpool. Forget who scored it, but that lad now...
But we can't forget who scored it, because it's such a story, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
He just picked up his GCSE results last week.
It's amazing, isn't it? You had the youngster at Arsenal, of course, who's been very good for a while, and now you've got Rio doing exactly the same.
OK, let's get some more reaction to speak to us. Ryan, well done. I mean, what a win. What a game that was to watch. What on earth was it like to play in?
Sorry?
What on earth was that game like to play in?
Yeah, it was crazy. But we know if you come here, that's a really tough place, a really good team. They're really physical, they fight till the end, and we saw that today.
And Rio Ngumoha, we've just been talking about it. I mean, he picked up his exam results last week. To come on and do that ahead of his 17th birthday, I mean, it's fairy tale stuff, isn't it?
It's crazy, yeah? I think for him it's a dream that come true. He worked really hard. You have seen him in pre-season, he did really well. And then if you do this today, can't be better.
Ryan, well played. It's Michael Owen here. Obviously, you were missed in the first game. Lots of counter-attacks against Liverpool. You were there to solidify it. But you ended up scoring a goal as well. I thought you were going to shoot with your second touch, but you took another touch again and then delayed it. As soon as you hit it, did you think it was in?
Yes. I wanted to shoot at first, but my touch was not that great, so I took an extra touch, and it was nice that it went in. Really happy with my first goal this season.
Ryan, Steve McManaman here. I just wanted to ask, what was it like to play him? Because at times, Liverpool seemed to struggle against the 10 men of Newcastle.
Yeah, we know what I said. We know Newcastle's a really tough team. We have seen it last season when we played here. Also in the final, we lost against them. So it's really tough, but I think, yeah, we have such a good fighting spirit, and then we fight till the end. And I'm happy we got the 3 points.
Yeah, just even at this stage of the season, how big is that win, given the fact you've got Arsenal coming up next at Anfield as well?
Yeah, really good feeling. Obviously, what I said, we know it's a tough place, so I'm happy that we have the 3 points, and we have to prepare for Arsenal because they are really good as well.
Very well done. Thanks very much indeed for talking to us, Ryan.
It felt like at 2-2 we'd seen the last of the drama, but no.
Well, if there was going to be any drama, it felt like it would be a Newcastle goal. There were set pieces at the end, and I mean, it feels like this was the only time when we look at the goal when Liverpool had almost a period of possession of pushing Newcastle further back. Arne Slot had made his substitutions. And what Liverpool end up doing is they end up getting plays, as you should always do. But Mo Salah will get the assist, but the assist is Dominic Szoboszlai, who was absolutely outstanding in this game tonight, playing it right back.
Talk to me, Thierry, about the composure that this young man shows. 16 years old, his Premier League debut. And as soon as Szoboszlai steps over it, he knows this is his moment.
Composure, the ball is coming well on the ground. Szoboszlai knows he's there, but you know, you're like, oh, if I score, this is going to be amazing. Look, it slows down. It bounces a bit, and then guide it. He does guide it, and then you can enjoy it. I mean,
but it seems that there's so much conviction about that strike.
Oh, you have to be, but the ball is inviting, though. And you also coming the right way.
That hundreds of times, but this is their youngest scorer in history, Jamie.
Wow. It's difficult to create history at Liverpool because, you know, the club's got such great history, but for a young man, and listen, it's been the weekend of young players coming in. You obviously think of what Arsenal had with Darwin coming on, but there's been something about this lad in pre-season where Liverpool supporters are getting really excited, and Luis Diaz has moved on. He was the competition with Cody Gakpo on the left, and there's a feeling of Liverpool need to replace Luis Diaz, but what you do when you've got a young player like this, that is definitely going to be in the minds now of the Liverpool hierarchy in terms of what they do in the next week. Because when someone has an impact like that as such a young player, that's just not enough now. I mean, I'm not talking about him playing every week, but...
Stand finish to what has been an extraordinary football match tonight at St James's Park, and here is the winning boss. Arne Slot speaks to us live now. Well, congratulations, first of all, Arne. How would you sum up the 90 plus 10 minutes that we've just experienced?
Now, when I heard you correctly, you were saying football match. I'm not too sure if I saw a football match today. It was set piece after set piece, long throw. It didn't have a lot to do with tactics, what I said before the game. But I liked a lot how we stood strong. Very difficult first half hour, 45 minutes. But we didn't collapse at all. We stood strong. And as a result of that, we came 1-0 up. They going down to 10 men, you would expect that is a big plus for us. But yeah, when a goalkeeper takes every free kick, then there's not so much help if you are one player up. And that's why it was so difficult for us to bring the 2-0 over the line.
Trust us. But, Jamie and I spotted something.
Playing style then.
Jamie and I spotted something on the free kicks. A lot of the free kicks, the line that you were having wherever they were trying to throw the ball in, you had it very low. The line was very low. And on the goal, Van Dijk decided to go really high. And what was the thought process of that? You got punished, and it's easy now because you got punished. It's easy for us to bring it up. But you did it the whole game. You played low to attack the ball, and on that one, you went high.
True. I don't think it's fair to blame Virgil. It's a combination. He has contact with us at the bench. All the other ones were further up the pitch, so we know what their idea is. They bring the ball to the D. Dan Burn is there attacking a ball, trying to make it difficult. There were a lot of difficult situations for us coming off that. So either a second ball or a throw-in or another corner kick. So at that moment of time, we decided that because the ball was so deep, that it was smarter not to get a second ball inside our 18-yard box again. But that was definitely the wrong decision in that moment, looking back at it.
For all that you said about the style of football that you faced tonight, Arne, having taken the lead just right at the start of the second half, were you disappointed with what your team gave you from that point on in the second period? I think your first shot after going 2-0 up was the winning goal.
Yeah, we didn't play well enough with the ball. Every time when we came in the end phase of an attack, our attackers immediately tried to force something, which never led to anything. A few crosses that ended up behind the goal. But like I said, I have to look back at it, but I don't think there was so much open play to be played. And as I said, in a set piece, a long throw and a long ball from the goalkeeper, you don't need an extra. Yeah, it's always nice to have an extra man, but it does not so as beneficial as if they want to bring the ball out from the back and we can press them. So yes, with the ball, the one and only attack that was good in the second, apart from maybe the 2-0, but when after that was the one that led to the goal, which was a great attack. And for the first time, we went from right to the middle to the left, and a great goal for a 16-year-old.
And the impact of the substitution, the young boy Rio, is caused huge excitement, I think, amongst Liverpool supporters, certainly in the pre-season games. And on the fact of Luis Diaz moving on, does it make you almost change maybe your thought process in terms of maybe replacing Luis Diaz in this next week because you've got such a young special talent like Rio?
Defend 5 set pieces, 3 throw-ins and 2 free kicks. I don't know how many, maybe I exaggerate a bit. And that wasn't a moment for me to bring Rio and Javi in because the both of them are not so tall. But I did feel, because it was 2-2, to bring 2 players in that can do something special in a moment. and then it's always nice that he scores a goal. I do remember, Jamie, before the game.
I knew that was coming back.
I'm delighted to be proved wrong, boss, I can assure you.
Yeah, no, but you were right. Last season I could bring in Trent Alexander-Arnold and Luis Diaz and Dominic Szoboszlai. But the end result is not the same, because last season we were 3-2 up in the last minute and they scored the 3-3, and today it was 2-2 and we could score in the last minute. But I think this is also what makes the Premier League special. Maybe it wasn't the best game in terms of tactics, in terms of playing football, but I think every fan everywhere around the world enjoyed watching this game of football. Also, because their fans were amazing in terms of the help they gave the home team.
Absolutely, Arne. It was a great watch. And when that ball falls to Rio with 100 minutes on the clock, did you expect him to score?
It was a big chance. And he's a player that can finish really well for his age. So how firm his shot was, you don't see this often. And for a 16-year-old, I did hear someone say afterwards in the dressing room, I'm not going to say who it was, but I probably would have taken that ball, have a first touch and then finish it off. But he's so confident. That's also what I like, because the first ball he got, he wasn't afraid. He immediately took someone on. And when the second player came, he even got a cross in. And for him to score that goal is not completely coincidence, because he's for his age, he's a really good finisher as well.
It was an amazing finish, as was the second goal. You didn't actually see it, did you, Arne?
No. No, I was still inside. So, I heard people cheering, so being happy, and I was like, this can't be a red card for us, because then the whole stadium will be much louder and they can't have scored. So what must have happened? I thought maybe a player coming in for them. But when I walked out, I heard it was a goal for us, so pleasant surprise.
But now this game is out of the way, Arne, the burning question, do you anticipate there to be conversations between the higher-ups at both clubs about the future of Alexander Isak?
I think the story should be about Hugo Ekitike scoring another goal for us. And it wouldn't be fair for me to talk about anything else. He's been 3 games with us now, scored 3 goals, impacted the games he played, and as the other ones of my attackers. And this is not the place to talk about anything else than that, in my opinion. But I can understand you asking.
Yeah, we will watch this space. Arne, well, it was a joy to watch. I know you didn't feel it was a flowing football contest, but it was certainly entertaining. We thoroughly enjoyed it.
Entertaining, that's a better word than a joy to watch, in my opinion. But
Thank you, Arne, as ever. Well done.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Where should we go? Should we go back to the start? All right, what do you make of we'll tell you what, we're going to go to a break in a minute, but let's just sum up what we heard from Arne Slot there. And it was interesting because the very first question was open-ended about the kind of game that he thought it was. His response straight away was on, this wasn't football.
Well, this is why I said what I said, because we played sometimes games like that, and the Premier League sometimes will give you a game like that. But what I like about what he said, and Jamie was mentioning it at the end, and we were talking about it, so many times they were not patient enough on the ball. Every time they put the ball down and they tried to make 3 to 4 passes to go on the right and on the left, they did open up Newcastle, but they didn't do it very often. I don't know why. Obviously the crowd, they got bullied at times. They were over them, but you know, I think they got away with one tonight, Liverpool. But look, that's how it is. It reminds me of, you know, the other day when Arsenal won at Man United. People were talking more about Man United than Arsenal. Same thing tonight, but they managed to find a way to win it.
Through strength, like he said?
I'm not sure. I mean, you mentioned the duels in the first half. I thought Liverpool lost a lot of duels in the first half. And in some ways, people always say the best way to win is with a last-minute winner. Of course, everybody knows that. But in some ways, the way Liverpool won is almost the worst way to win, taking away the last-minute goal. But in terms of, like, you're being dominated, you've 10 men, you're hanging on at the end, but they found a way to win. So I said Eddie Howe and Newcastle will be so disappointed tonight, but in the morning they look at each other and think, we were outstanding. I think it'll almost be the opposite for Liverpool. They were absolutely ecstatic in that dressing room. But when the coaches and the players get back to the training ground, the AXA, in the next couple of days, it will be like, we need to sort ourselves out.
I think he was talking about Van Dijk.
Oh, Van Dijk was outstanding.
You have to say at the very end, if you compare Van Dijk and Konate in terms of clearing the ball and the impact that he had on going and
That's like comparing me and you.
No, but I think Van Dijk was immense tonight once again.
I was just imagining the reaction. Let's take you all the way back to the first goal. And for context as well, this came against a run of play. Newcastle were right on top in that first half.
Newcastle were outstanding. Virgil van Dijk said in his interview he knew what was coming, but he didn't handle it at all, Liverpool, and they were very fortunate not to be 1-0 down at this stage. And then, listen, how often have we seen this in the Premier League era? A team under pressure, the team don't score, they don't capitalise, and then they find themselves 1-0 down. Something the manager mentioned before the game in his interview with us about sometimes Newcastle going into that deep block, maybe not getting out to people who take shots on the edge of the box. So Ryan Gravenberch, who, listen, been sorely missed, certainly last weekend, comes into the team and does something that we don't normally know.
He touches it, yeah.
Just takes it away from Nick Pope, doesn't it? Gives him zero chance. And really, this happens right on the cusp of the end of the first half.
And we're going to have to be honest, at that moment, Gordon was the best player on the field by a distance.
Did it feel like at that point that this was the end of the game for Newcastle United? A goal down and a man down.
What I thought, and Jamie thought also, is like, we had a good game. Now it's going to be maybe a team going low, defend, intensity of the game, but obviously we all know that didn't happen. But it's very difficult to say that that's not a red. It is a red.
There's not too much to be negative about Newcastle tonight. That's what all the lads will be looking at him. Anthony, as Thierry said, he was outstanding. And normally when you see someone sprint like that, I was asking the lads to take the video back. Has something happened a minute before? He's had a bad foul and he didn't get one or something, because...
Might they reflect they were just a bit too revved up?
Listen, that was always going to be a problem. A lot of the times when Liverpool go to Everton, that normally happens. We go into derby games thinking, these will get a man sent off, keep your heads. And that was definitely a feeling from all of us here today, right throughout the day. Newcastle have got to be careful with getting a red card. I thought it'd be one of the midfield three, not one of the front three.
Just as the players emerged the second half, I was asking you, Thierry, is there a way back here for Newcastle United? And it certainly felt like 20 seconds into the second half.
It proved me right, because I was like, there's no way they can come back into it and stuff. And like, I was like, Szoboszlai going to go in midfield, they're going to control the midfield. And then, maybe Elanga can do something on the counter, and then this happens. Gakpo goes inside, shoots, ricochet. Now he gives the ball on the platter for Ekitike, but make no mistake, the way he did finish that is outstanding.
Looks like he's a goal scorer, Thierry.
It is. Look, at Reims, he was outstanding. I mentioned it already when he went to Paris Saint-Germain, when you have to play in front of Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe, you're obviously going to be on the bench, unfortunately for him. But that's a hell of a finish. And that's 3 games, 3 goals.
I mean, you know him better than us, Thierry, but 2 out of his 3 goals now, certainly the one in the Community Shield and that one, the finish is outstanding, but they're like passes. It's not like just like he's just hit the ball. It's like he's picked that spot out. He did the same in the Community Shield. I mean, is this a feature of his game? Is this what we've got to get used to watching him?
Yes, and also what I like about it is, sometimes when there was a ricochet just before you shoot, or, the one also he scored at Anfield, where the ball, he kept his composure. Although there was luck in the build-up, he kept his composure, aim, and I finish. This is how he does finish, and hopefully for you, he can do more than that.
The first Liverpool player to score in his first 3 competitive matches, Community Shield, first 2 Premier League games since Daniel Sturridge.
Oh, since. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Our friend Daniel. Right, the comeback then. The unexpected comeback. Where did it come from?
Long throw. And listen, long throws have been a feature of this Premier League season, the first 2 weekends. Everybody is doing. I don't think there's a team who have not taken a long throw of yet. But I mean, I must say, when we're talking about new players coming in, we're talking about Ekitike, the start he's made. Kirk has made a really poor start to his Liverpool career. He found it really difficult in the first game against Bournemouth, a little bit nervous. He was up against Elanga today, not easy. But this is not enough. You've just got to go and head the ball. And he's almost just trying to stop the play. I mean, that is really, really poor. He's not the biggest, but you've got to jump, you've got to challenge in that situation. But from Guimarães, you mentioned Guimarães, how impressed you were with him in the game.
His desire, the connection that he has with the crowd, the way he brings his team forward, he brings his team back into the game. And you said that Kirkus is not big. Guimarães is not big. try and head that
I'm trying to look
away.
to defend him. Does he just get trapped under the ball a little bit?
Yeah, but if as soon as you go into this type of situation, trying to grab the shirt of the player or keeping away, the desire of Guimarães was always going to win that, and that's a great finish at the end of the day. But like Judge, go for it. Put your body in.
He's not even looking at the ball. He's just getting his
Don't
head
even know
down,
what the
trying
ball
to block
is.
someone.
And he's actually useful in the air, Bruno. That's 3 of his last 6 goals have come with his head.
Yeah, but listen, Newcastle deserved it. They deserved to get themselves not level, but
This
sitting
really
back
put
in.
the energy back in the stadium. You can see it there. You felt it, even watching on here in the studio. It just felt the game was suddenly alive again. And I think even you were saying, Jamie, at that point, it might just take a set piece, a long throw, a goal kick, or something that Newcastle could grab.
I said before about, in some ways, that was one of the worst ways to win. Liverpool's performance was so poor. 11v11, it was poor. Arnie Slot talked about the duels in the game. They lost a lot of duels. At one stage, I remember Anthony Gordon winning a header against Canate in the first half.
Yes.
And you're thinking, that can't happen. Liverpool's front four really found it tough up against, that back four, people coming behind them and being strong and aggressive. But the biggest problem I felt with Liverpool tonight, when they had the extra man, they were almost just keeping the ball like there was a minute to go and going back to the goalkeeper. You have to go for the next goal because, as I kept saying to you, all it needs is a long throw or a set piece. And that's exactly what happened. Liverpool was so poor on the ball, really, really poor. But listen, credit to Newcastle. They deserve. But this is the point we're going to look at here now on the free kick. What Thierry mentioned to the Liverpool manager, Arne Slot, about the line. Because I've noticed this last week in the Bournemouth game, that Liverpool are going deeper on free kicks. Whether that's a new tactic with, Virgil van Dijk's decided, the coaching staff have decided. But what was really interesting was on this one, they went really high. Now, listening to the manager, he mentioned because of the position of where the free kick was. I didn't know if it was something to do with the fact that Newcastle were a man down or something, and Van Dijk thought, no, we can actually go higher.
No, that's something that you go with what
Just
you're
take
saying,
it back
Jamie.
and you
There
just
is
take it back.
there's something that I just noticed now.
Sorry, Thierry, but just look at Van Dijk, because if you showed other clips, he's actually telling the line to go back on certain clips. So just keep an eye on Van Dijk. People are wanting to actually go deeper, think the line should be deep, and he's saying, no, stay. You see Kirkes behind the ball there. But on other clips that we had, he was doing the opposite.
Can I go back?
Yeah.
If you go back to now, so we mentioned that they went low on everything before.
Yeah, deep, yeah.
Well, sorry, deep. Have a look now, him looking at the bench.
Van Dijk?
Yes. Now play it. He's like, what? Like, he has a little... He's looking at the bench. He did look at the bench before. He's going low, and then...
They did say...
And then he goes like, whoa.
In conjunction with the bench.
Yeah, but he's going
pause it
low.
there for me, please. Where would you then, based on the first half and what we've seen through the game, where would you have expected that line to be?
Not so much on the first half. There's a different... It's where you think the line's right. I'm actually watching Liverpool now, and for the majority of free kicks, I think they're too deep. I think the right line is probably around about there. And you used to have... You go high a lot of the time to give space maybe for your goalkeeper. Yeah? Now what was happening when teams were going high was the fella on the ball was looking at the space he could put it into. Now it almost looks like Liverpool have gone a very Italian way. If you still watch games in Italy and in Serie A, teams on wide free kicks are almost in the box. Yeah. So Liverpool now are going right into the box on the wide free kicks. We maybe got a couple of clips, but that's probably the line where I would be. As soon as we looked at it, we both felt, oh, that's high. And I think if you're Newcastle, you're thinking, oh, we put that over the top and we let them run onto it. But listen, we're going to get to the free kick now, but there's people for Liverpool who've made a really poor start of the season. Mo Salah's one of them, even though he scored a goal and got an assist. Canate is another one. He has been all over the place. Now you want your centre-back to go and win that header. He's going backwards, but he still should deal with that. He's up against Dan Burn, and then Gravenberch goes on the run. But it felt like it was coming. It did. You can't deny that. Newcastle deserved it.
You just said it, James. He's up against Dan Burn, 6'7".
I want my centre-back to go and win that. He was all over the place last week. He's more interested in grabbing his arm. He was really poor in the first half as well. He was. He's not at the races at all. And I absolutely shudder to think where Liverpool would be without Virgil van Dijk, who's been absolutely outstanding.
Can he finish from Osula as well?
Oh, yeah,
Thierry?
I mean...
Second Premier League goal,
The ball, he has to do way better, Konate here. But you can see here, Baker doesn't get, usually in this type of situation, he wins his battle. But, you know, it's one of those where you just put your leg and hope for the best, and that's exactly what happened. But to go back to your point, and Jamie said it, the line should be there. What was funny is the whole game, they didn't do it, and you could see that it was the bench sorry, that called Van Dijk to say, we got to go higher. You could see Kirkus was going back, and it was kind of weird. And after, just after, look, now he's telling them, oh,
again.
There you go.
Let's get back here.
But it's almost...
Yes.
Yeah.
Like he took the decision.
But even so, that was Liverpool right throughout the game. That is too deep for me. So every free kick, I'm not saying they got everyone wrong. This is a decision from Van Dijk. You know, they conceded from the one that they were too high, in my opinion.
Too deep. Why, Jamie? Would you say?
I mean, look how far
this is
away
the question
the
that
kick
fans
is.
are always asking. They can never work out why these lines are drawn by the defender.
But wherever you hold your line, you're always going to go further back because the ball's going to go over your head. So you're going to end up on the penalty spot. So you're on the 6-yard box with your goalkeeper coming. He's got no space to come. He could clash into one of your players, and if it drops down, it's just you're in the 6-yard box. So that's the reason why going higher, to give the goalkeeper more space to come and get it. And if you lose a header higher, it's further away from your goal.
My thing was, and again I go back to it, why did you change it?
Well,
no, I know, but I'm saying you did it the whole game, do it the whole game. Newcastle, even with 10 men, at that high line. They stayed high the whole game. They didn't change what they were about. That's why I wanted to ask the coach why he did it. I mean, they got punished for the only time they did it, so obviously it worked for us to talk about it. But that was the question, which we thought it was a bit weird.
Yeah, the most unlikely comeback that was from Newcastle United. It felt like where there was a will, there was a way. 2-2, surely it was all done. But no, as you've heard, as we all know now, Rio has written his name into the history books this evening with a moment that Liverpool fans will long remember, and that young man will never forget.
No, listen, there's probably only Liverpool supporters tonight and Sunderland supporters who were delighted that young man has probably got that goal.
Don't bring Sunderland into it.
No, what I mean, listen, they wouldn't want Newcastle to get the result, would they? But I think a lot of the neutral fans would have in some ways been disappointed because Newcastle deserved a lot more. But what a moment. You think about Premier League moments, you know, special moments that happen. We highlighted Michael Owen, I think, scoring a hat-trick at maybe 17, 18 before that game. And you think of the career he goes on to have and what he goes on to do. Young players who go on to have great careers, you can always pinpoint a moment or something special very early on. And you look at those names there.
Wayne Rooney.
Well,
a day younger against Arsenal.
Yeah, I remember. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, but you know what it is, and you said it well. When that ball arrived, I think if you're watching the game and you love football and you love great stories, everyone was with him when he did hit that ball. Everyone wanted the ball to go in the back of the net because the story is too beautiful. You wanted to, no, seriously, no, come on. If you got to be above anything. He's a 16-year-old kid that can make his team win. You got to be above all the hate and everything. Yeah, that was beautiful.
Fairy tale moments.
In that game of football.
Yes, a bruising game for us. I think so many different emotions because really proud of the performance, really pleased with how we played, great energy, great intensity, really pleased with the following of the game plan and then adapting because we go to 10 men and for me we're the better team in the second half as well as the first. So to come away with nothing and injuries and suspensions and concussions, it's a pretty bad day.
Where are we with all the injuries then that you've picked up tonight?
Yeah, Sandros doesn't look good. He was in quite a bit of pain. I don't know the full extent of him or Joelinton's injury, but they both look threatening for us in the sense that they could be out for a while. And then, of course, Ant's going to be suspended, which is a big blow for us. Just reflecting on that, I thought there was no intent. People say it looks bad. I've not seen it again. I've seen a really quick image of it. I thought he was trying to pull out of the tackle in the end.
You seem to lose your cool a little bit. You talked about emotion before the game and not letting that sort of override your performance, but you did seem to lose a little bit of cool heads once Liverpool went. Went ahead.
I think it was a game where both teams were on the edge. I think that Liverpool the same as us. There was a few contentious moments for the referee. Probably wasn't an easy game to manage from his perspective, but I don't know. I don't think so. I thought Anthony's challenge, of course, is a red card, and that doesn't look good in that respect. But as I said, I don't think there was any intent from him.
It's a solution you need to try and find now. What with his suspension, you've got your concussion as well involved as well. You've got the 2 injuries as well, where you need to find a solution rather quickly now. It's not about one individual anymore, is it, that so many of us have been talking about?
No, it's not. We need to find solutions to make the team perform, but I think the team is performing and creating chances, and yeah, I couldn't be more pleased with the performance. But obviously, it's as I said right at the start, it's a difficult game to digest because, well, the opening 2 games difficult to digest because we've played really well in both. We've ended up with 1 point. So, of course, you're looking at points and the ability to win games. It's not quite been there, but the general feel is we're a really strong team.
But you have shown that ability that you can win games, as you say, though, but you haven't just got the points to show for it.
Yeah, I think historically we've always done that, so we're going to have to do it again. We're going to have to find a new way at the moment without Alex. And great to see Will Osula step up and score his goal today. That's a great moment for him. We desperately wanted it to be meaningful in terms of getting points, but it wasn't to be.
On Alex, there were reports this evening suggesting that the club have actually met with him. I don't know if you were aware about that because your focus was well and truly on the game tonight. Can there be a peaceful solution to this situation?
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. So obviously talks have been going on since Alex decided to not go on tour with us, and I've concentrated on coaching the team, so I've got no update for you.
But as we referred to earlier, you've picked up these injuries tonight. You've got the suspensions as well. This transfer window, this week that you have left, do you expect it to be a busy one for the team, not the individual?
We hope that we can bring players into the football club. We've been trying all through the window, especially in the forward positions. So we'll continue right to the end.
Eddie, thank you.
Thank you.